Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Angry Cast and Satisfactory. How y'all doing? We are back at the hub looking at this mess, and we are going to be doing some things about it. We've got some things to accomplish here. Hopefully we can get them all done in this video, but you know, time being what it is, I think I may have to split this up into two. So first of all, this is our main line for iron production. This is what we started out beginning of the game. We took 3 nodes, normal nodes, down over the hill, put some portable miners on it, and then we've grown since then. Now we've got an entire conveyor system coming up here, feeding into this smelter, and then this goes through here. It makes iron ingots from the smelters into iron rods that then go into screws and then go into containers. And then also it splits off here and sends iron rods into there to just have iron rods. And then we also have this one splitting off from the iron ingots from the smelter going into there for iron plating. So that's iron plating, iron screws, and iron rods. And it's served its purpose very well, but you can see we've got a huge bottleneck down here because we've got 3 normal nodes down there, and then a third or half of each normal node, which is 1.5 times the amount of iron down there, is coming up and getting bottlenecked into this storage container, and then it gets, you know, takes forever for here. We're going to make this more efficient. So let's go take a look at what we are going to be doing with that as well. Okay, now as you can see, here's where we have another set of iron production. Again, there's those 3 normal nodes we talked about, 3 Mark I miners heading up over the hill after they split off half of their resources from the belt, going the one half going up to the merger that goes up the hill, and then the other half goes into another production line. One side's now coming through and doing modular frames, and the other side's doing a reinforced, I'm sorry, no, they're doing rotors. One side's doing rotors, one side's doing modular frames. And again, very not tidy, not efficient, a lot of backups, a lot of, like, you know, bottlenecks. We have to sit there and wait for resources at the reassembler for the rotors are constantly waiting on, I think they're waiting on rods at this point. Yeah, looks like it. So none of that is efficient, and we don't like it, and we don't want to have that. We want to go through and reorganize all of this and make it better, and that's going to take those 3 nodes and divide them up into specific purposes. The first node is going to take care of iron plating. The second node is going to take care of iron rods, and then the third is going to take care of iron screws. And because we don't have any alternative recipes, I don't believe, we are stuck with doing... Oh wait, do we do... Hold on a second. Well, shit, I was wrong. We do have an alternative... Well, this entire time... for the love of God. So yeah, we have an alternate cast screw recipe that just goes straight from iron ingots into screws. So I had set up this entire thing to show you this monstrosity down here. Let me get back up. You know, I tried to be the good YouTuber and show you, like, try to make things look nice and tidy and efficient and everything else, and then I am my own worst enemy. So based off of TotalXclipse's design for 120 screws per minute, we can take one of those normal nodes, feed it into the splitter down here, and go into these 2 smelters, and then those 2 smelters can go into those 4 constructors, and those 4 constructors will turn them into iron rods. And then those iron rods go over here and get split off into these 3 and 6, actually, to make iron screws. But now I'm going to have to redigger the whole thing. So that was the that was the plan. Now we're going to have to redo it. So hold on, please. Well, in any case, no matter what we do, we're going to redo everything, and we're going to make it more efficient. So let's just go ahead and, through the magic of editing, let's get rid of this and show you what it's going to look like afterwards. And then I will walk through how to set it up. Again, I got these designs from TotalXclipse. Great channel to watch. And you can find, I'll link the description to his channel and I'll link to his channel in the description of this video so you can go watch him as well. Okay, looks like we got things cleaned up a little bit better now. We have a production line taking care of iron rods and a production line taking care of iron plates, both using the original nodes that were down there. Now, I probably should have taken the node up there and supplied it for that, for the iron plates, and the node down here and supplied it for the iron rods, but I figured this was it gave me a better chance to put this thing together the way I wanted it to. Now, of course, you know, this is again a better solution, but a temporary solution, because once we get to you know, where we can actually build walls and stuff, we can then have that we can take this and make it into actual uniform factory floors. So that takes care of that. Now let's go talk about the screws. Now this is going to be more of a work in progress at the moment, because if I had built the screws the way I was looking at the video and from TotalXclipse, I would have had two sets of, like we had before, one set of constructors that was making all iron rods and then splitting those iron rods into doing screws. But because we're using a cast screw, the alternate recipe that we found in the drop pod over yonder on the other side, we can go directly, we can cut out one of those steps and go directly from smelter to constructor to make screws. And as you can see here, it's not spectacular. There's a lot of backup on the pipeline coming out, but because there's so many screws, I mean, it's just an enormous, exorbitant amount of screws being made from this production line, and I almost feel like I should just turn this into the triple threat and do, you know, a normal node doing plates, rods, and screws all together, and then just do it that way, or, you know, do that for up here with those two nodes and then use this for something else. But I want to go through a couple of things here. Let's go back and walk through the setup for plates and rods, and then we'll come down here because I want to show you what's in the corner there in the top, the sink as it is. So I had initially wanted to look at it from over there, that vantage point, but let's take this right here. So we got our normal node iron miner coming through and splitting this at a splitter to run into two different smelters, and both of those smelters are making iron plates. Again, there's a bit of a backup here, so we could probably actually siphon this off into a third line to do 3 lines of iron plates, but it's probably going to be a little bit of overkill. So I think what I need to do is maybe utilize these two nodes, like I said, to do all 3 in one, which I have a design for that. But that's that. Up, you can see up the top. Let's take a look here. Oh gosh. You can see we've got our our normal Mark 1 miner on a normal node running into a splitter that goes into 2 smelters to make it into iron ingots. And then those split again into 2 separate constructors to make all of the iron rods. And as you can see, we've got a huge backup here. So again, I don't think this is the most efficient use of the designs we have, even though they're normal. I mean, they are normal nodes, right? I'm not missing this. Yeah, these are normal nodes. So that's what that. Now, let's go down and take a look at this sucker. So of course, like I said, we're going straight from 4 smelters into 8 constructors that make screws, cast screws. Excuse me. And then that runs just into a junction, a merger, I'm sorry, at the end, but then it goes into a splitter line that goes into here, and we're already almost I set this up like 10 minutes ago. We're almost, too full here. You figure there's 50 screws per minute, and there's 8 of these, so that's 400 screws per minute, and you get 500 in a spot. So every, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 3, 24. In half an hour, you're going to end up filling up a container. So we need to do something definitely with that. Now, what we have done here right now is to split off these and send them into a sink. This has been running for quite a while now. I've got 3 coupons, and we'll go over the sync a little bit later. But as this becomes, it gets exponentially more expensive. So this is not a good use of how we're going to do that. I just wanted to have something set up in the background and run while I'm not paying attention to it. Because, you know, why not? Why not just use up something? Because I'm never going to use all those screws. So yeah, so that takes care of that. Now, that's iron plates, iron rods, and iron screws. And now you can see we have got all of this cleared out. All that cleared out. We still have those containers over there with all 3 of those items in it, but we're no longer cluttering up this spot. And now we have a nice little uniform area. So, okay, so now let's talk about the copper and the concrete. So we had our copper going into doing just, at the time we set this up, we didn't have the ability to make copper sheets yet. So we were just making copper wire and copper cabling. So we had one line going right into copper wire, and one line going into a constructor that made cabling, which has been great up until now. So let's see here. We can get rid of all this, and we have a line already dedicated coming out of the original node, which I believe is a normal one. It comes along here, runs down to this belt, and sets up into here. Do I have any? I do. Where is the... But the... Ooh, I don't have any for the node itself. Any biofuel. So, this just takes the copper down into here, splits it into 2 separate smelters that smelts the copper ore into ingots, and then it splits it into... Ooh, I had a thing. Where's it at? Crap. Hold on. So we've got 2 smelters here. One splits it into 2 belts over 2 constructors over here, and one into a third. Now this one over here on the left, it splits into 2. The 3 constructors in the middle there of those 5 are making wire, and then those are going into, one is going into a constructor to make cable, and then the other 2 are split off and go into a container. The 4th constructor, or the 5th constructor, however you're looking at it on the left, is making the wire sheet, or the copper sheeting, and then it goes into an elevator over top of everything and then lands into another container. So I've got 4 constructors making copper wire, and then 1 additionally making the copper wire into cabling, and then everything's getting deposited into the containers to the right. So that's great. Now let's look at the we had our, oh, I can't see it from here, but we had our concrete, limestone going into one constructor making concrete, and then then would go into a container, and every time we would go collect it, oh, I ran out of power somewhere. Something ran out of power. Don't know where at this point. That's going to be a big problem for us, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. So one of the the problems with that limestone to concrete operation up there is that every time I go to get it, I get gassed by those things. So I've decided to reroute the concrete from yonder down over here into this production, which just takes the node, which is pure, one I haven't claimed, and that I have a pure one up here, which is awesome. Takes that and sends it down into the splitter that splits it again, which I probably could have did it a different way, but I just farted it to get it done. Anyways, we've got 4 constructors that are just taking the limestone and making it into concrete and then funneling it into here, and that's pretty cool. So let's talk the ratios. We were talking about the screws and all that other here. As far as copper wiring and copper, all that stuff goes, we've got this one here that's making 10 sheets per minute. We've got 30 per minute here, 60, 90 per minute, which account for, let's see here, 60 copper per wire per minute, and then an additional 30 copper wire cables per minute. And that leads us to say this has been running for a while, Actually, no, we have not set the. Did not set this and go. Oh, there goes the power on this one. Well. That's the other thing we're gonna have a problem with. We have got to definitely get some power sorted out. Now I could bring over the power lines from the coal generation plant over yonder. However, I've got one biomass burner up there controlling both of those miners. I've got a few over here. I've got 2 here. We're starting to add up all of these things, and they're getting to be expensive. Not to mention I've got, let's see here, 2 up here, and biomass burners take about, they cost, they generate 30, but I mean, it's this setup is not going to be great. I mean, I've got 2 to run this entire setting, plus that 5 for the miner. I needed 5 for the miner, and then I've got an entire setup that's running me 55 out of 60 watts, and I got to keep filling it up. And I've cleared most of the brush around just this area. That's not even to say, what's I haven't shown you yet, which is going to be next time, which is the modular frames and rotors, which used to be down here. So we have got to figure out a better way. Now that's going to come with, like I got those 2 logistics and milestone for steel pipes and steel beams to be finished off. That will open up some things in the hub, which is going to be the reward on that is opening up power storage, industrial storage, conveyor belts 3, conveyor lifts 3, and stackable pipe support. Hypertubes, yeah. But in order for me to unlock the next phase of fuel and power, I have to complete phase 2 of the space elevator, which is going to be, that's going to be the next thing. So let's talk about that for a little bit. So the versatile framework and the automated wiring or automatic wiring require several different components. One being, they actually require you to do steel or iron ore and copper. Steel, iron, and copper. So you need to have. It ain't gonna be fun. It ain't gonna be fun. Let's put it that way. You've got to build. What was that? Versatile frameworks. That requires one of the steel pipes or steel beams, and then you also need the modular frames, I believe, if I recall correctly. Actually, let's not guess. So yeah, okay, modular frames and steel beams make up the versatile framework. Steel pipes and stators make up the automated wiring, and the stators themselves aren't cheap either. That's another assembler involved. So you got a modular frame assembler line, and you've got a stator assembly line, and that's not, that doesn't even tell you what you've got when it comes to, let's see here, the stators themselves. The stators themselves require steel pipe and the wire. So we're going to have to build an entire... Now here's the thing. The great thing about this is by the time we get to this point, I probably will have most of the stuff already just sitting in storage. So I could just build a little assembly line to get, to get the 4 items that we need to make those 2 and then pump them into the thing. So it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. But versatile framework and all the other things become essential later on for other tiers. So we're going to have that set up somewhere else anyways. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to worry about that. That's a later problem. We're just worried about the short-term goals, which is the complete tier 4 and complete phase 2. As you can see my little to-do list over there. Oh, and the last thing we want to do, because we're going to be doing all that, is the last thing we want to do is unlock overclocking, which we need, I think, here, because we can really start to get efficient with how things work, so we don't have any backups by taking care of underclocking. So in order to do that, we got to build ourselves a power shard, which is some quartz. Let's see here, some quartz. What are some quartz? Oopsies. Alright, we can go build ourselves a power shard. So yeah, we have these things. We can add them into our components, either like, you know, the burners, the constructors, the assemblers, anything like that, to make them either work faster with a power shard or work slower, so we can conserve on energy and push our resources to other things. And that's unlocked through the MAM. So let's go ahead, add that, get it unlocked, and now we can. There's things that were shut down before. Now this panel's opened up, and now we can take and add this in by putting in another shard. But we can take what we do have and run it down, so that we can underclock some of our machines to save on power and to save on other resources, and to dedicate resources into a different direction if we have to. So that's it. We're done for now. Next time we will, like I said, we're going to go through rotors and modular frames, and we will take care of MK3 logistics to with this, you know, because we're going to go. I haven't been back over there for a while, so we need to go back over and get either truck some power back or to go get those things. I have like 2 sets of containers full already with all those things, so we've got tons of stuff to use. We just have to use it. So that's it for now. Please, if you like what you're seeing, subscribe, leave me comments, buy some merch, buy me a coffee, however, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.